The seasoned SEAL commander scoffed. That's not a shot. It's a prayer. But for Master Sergeant Anya Valkyrie Petrova, a prayer wasn't necessary. Only physics. And 3 bullets for 3 enemy generals. The sun was a merciless hammer over the mountains of Tyzurstan, beating down on the wind-scoured rock where Master Sergeant Anya Petrova lay motionless. For 6 hours, she had been part of the landscape, a ghost in a ghillie suit whose ash-blonde tactical braid was tucked meticulously under her hood. At 30, her face was sharp and focused, framed by the punishing environment, but it was her eyes, the color of glacial ice, that held the unnerving stillness of a predator. She was a phantom, an army asset attached to a team of Navy SEALs, and their leader didn't like it one bit. Commander Marcus Hulk, Thorne was everything his call sign suggested. A mountain of man carved from 18 years of brutal combat. His weathered face, set under a graying buzz cut, was a roadmap of deployments Anya could only guess at. He moved with the heavy certainty of a man who trusted only 2 things, his team and his gut. And his gut told him the woman observing the valley below was a liability. She was army support, a box to be checked on an operational plan he hadn't drawn up. To him, she was an unknown variable in an equation where variables get men killed. Valkyrie, status, he grunted, his voice a low rumble that was barely swallowed by the oppressive heat. He didn't use her rank. He used the call sign from her file, his tone making it sound like a curiosity rather than a title earned. No change, Commander. Anya's voice came back through the comms, crisp and devoid of emotion. Target compound remains static. Perimeter patrols are on a predictable 20-minute rotation. Atmosphere is stable. The target was a derelict Soviet-era sanatorium, a concrete scar clinging to a ridge over 2,300 yards away. It was a distance that rendered it untouchable, a place that existed in their scopes, but not in their world. The mission was simple: watch, record, and report. It was a reconnaissance task, a job for patient eyes, not for triggers. Thorne's men, all hardened operators, were positioned in a loose perimeter around her, their own rifles capable of reaching out to 1,500 yards at best. The sanatorium was in another universe. It was an absolute no-go zone for engagement, a fact Thorne had drilled into his team with grim finality. This was about intelligence, not glory. Anya ignored the simmering skepticism from the SEALs. She was focused on the dance of heat haze and light through the state-of-the-art Schmidt and Bender scope mounted on her rifle. Its integrated sensors fed a constant stream of data to a small, wrist-mounted display. For hours, the sanatorium had been a lifeless monolith. Then something changed. A convoy of 3 black, armored SUVs, kicking up plumes of dust, snaked its way up the winding road to the compound. They weren't the usual technicals or beat-up trucks used by the local insurgents. These were vehicles of importance. Anya's fingers danced over the controls of her scope, zooming in with crystalline clarity. Men emerged, surrounded by a phalanx of heavily armed guards. Their uniforms were distinct, adorned with the insignia of high command. Anya's internal database, honed by years of intelligence briefings, went into overdrive. She cross-referenced facial features, mannerisms, and the specific decorations on their collars. Her breath caught, just for a fraction of a second. "Commander," she said, her voice cutting through the quiet hum of the comms with new urgency. "I have a positive ID. 3 high-value targets. General Rammel, the Butcher, Usmanov, General Kalen Alamad, and their chief strategist, known only as the Architect. All 3 are on the second-floor balcony, northwest corner." The air grew thick with tension. These weren't just insurgents. They were the head of the snake. Usmanov was responsible for a string of bombings that had killed dozens of coalition soldiers. Al-Hamad controlled the flow of weapons and money. The Architect was the ghost who planned it all. Capturing or killing even one of them would be a major victory. Having all 3 in one place was a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Anya relayed the data, and the response from JSOC was almost instantaneous. A new directive that crackled with electrifying possibility. Immediate clearance authorized. Eliminate targets if tactically viable. Priority Alpha. Thorn swore under his breath, grabbing his own high-powered binoculars. He saw them, 3 figures, laughing and talking in the open air, utterly oblivious. They might as well have been sunbathing on the moon. No way, Thorn declared to his team and to the command listening in. It's a no-go. Range is 2,340 yards. Wind shear in that valley is a nightmare. There's zero cover for an approach. It's tactical suicide. We'd be spotted a mile out. He lowered his binoculars, his expression grim. The opportunity was a mirage, a cruel joke played by the gods of war. We maintain observation. That's the only play. A beat of silence passed, thick with the weight of a lost chance. Then, Anya's voice, calm and measured, sliced through the disappointment. Sir, I can neutralize all 3 targets. Thorn physically recoiled, turning to stare at her position as if she'd just spoken in tongues. Say again, Sergeant, he demanded, the word sergeant, now laced with incredulous anger. I have a clear shot and a stable firing solution, she repeated, her tone unchanged. I can take them. Negative. Thorn snapped, crawling the few feet to her hide. He loomed over her, his shadow falling across her rifle. That's over 2,300 yards. Don't you dare confuse what you see in a video game with the reality of ballistics, Sergeant. The laws of physics still apply out here, and they say that shot is impossible. Anya didn't argue. She didn't flinch under his furious gaze. Instead, she slowly reached for the ruggedized military tablet secured to her pack. With a few taps, the screen flickered to life. It wasn't a standard map or a set of mission notes. The display was a dizzying array of numbers, vectors, and fluctuating graphs under a sleek, custom interface titled Archangel. What is this? Thor growled. This is my firing solution, Commander, Anya said. She pointed to different data fields being fed in real time. Archangel isn't just calculating for windage and drop. It's processing Coriolis effect based on our latitude, spin drift, humidity gradients at 100-yard intervals, and the barometric pressure differential between here and the target. It's modeling the bullet's entire flight path. She swiped the screen, bringing up a log of past engagements. Each was a complex simulation showing a target, a firing point, and a gracefully arcing line. The distances were staggering. 1,900 yards, 2,100 yards, one even logged at over 2,400. Each was marked with a single word, success. Thorn stared, his anger melting into stunned disbelief. His second-in-command, Chief Petty Officer Rico Gadget Diaz, a tech wizard in his own right, leaned in, his eyes wide. Commander, this is predictive analytics. I've never seen a ballistic app this sophisticated. This is beyond anything in the standard inventory. Anya looked up at Thorn, her icy eyes meeting his. Your sniper sees the target, sir. I see a math problem, and I've already solved it. The silence that followed was absolute, broken only by the whisper of the wind. Thorn looked from the impossible data on the tablet to the impossible calm in Anya's eyes. Every instinct, every year of his experience screamed that this was a mistake. But the cold, hard data of Archangel was undeniable, and the woman before him radiated a certainty that transcended mere confidence. It was the certainty of a master craftsman. Take the shot, Valkyrie. Thorn finally breathed, the name now sounding like a title of respect. Make me a believer. Anya nodded once, her focus already 1,000 yards away. The world shrank to the circular view in her scope. Her breathing deepened, then slowed, each exhale a measured release of tension. Her heart rate dropped to a steady, rhythmic beat. This was her sanctuary, the place where the chaos of the world resolved into pure physics. Her fingers, steady and sure, made microscopic adjustments to the turrets on her Chaytak M200 intervention. The clicks were barely audible, each one corresponding to a precise calculation from Archangel. She settled the rifle, but into the hollow of her shoulder, the cold metal of familiar anchor. Her first target was General Usmanov, who stood gesturing expansively, his profile a perfect target against the pale wall of the sanatorium. Anya's crosshairs settled on his center mass. She exhaled halfway, held her breath, and the world fell silent. The rifle bucked against her shoulder with a deafening crack that ripped through the canyon silence. The .408 Chaitak round left the muzzle at nearly 3,000 feet per second, beginning its long, invisible journey. Through his spotting scope, Thorn watched, holding his own breath. For nearly 3 seconds, nothing happened. It felt like an eternity. Then, Usmanov's body jerked violently, as if struck by an invisible fist, and he crumpled to the ground. Before the SEALs could even process the sight, Anya was already working. Her hands moved with an economy of motion that was mesmerizing. She cycled the bolt, chambered a new round, and acquired her second target. General Alamad had turned, his face a mask of confusion. It was his last expression. The second shot was even faster than the first. Another crack echoed, another impossible wait, another silent, brutal impact. The third target, the architect, was finally reacting. He dove for the cover of the doorway, a blur of motion. But for Anya, his movement was just another variable in the equation. She didn't aim where he was, but where he was going to be. She led him by a precise calculation, a prediction of physics and panic. The third shot was a testament to intuition and mathematics combined. The architect stumbled mid-stride and fell, half in and half out of the doorway. 3 shots, 3 kills. Total elapsed time, 12.7 seconds. For a long moment, the only sound on the ridge was the wind. The SEAL team was frozen, their minds struggling to reconcile what their eyes had just seen. Jesus Christ, Rico Diaz whispered into the comms, his voice filled with a profound, almost spiritual awe. Valkyrie, we are Oscar Mike. Now, Thorn's voice broke the spell, jolting everyone back to the mission. Pack it up. We are gone. As chaos erupted in the compound below, the team moved with fluid efficiency, melting back into the rocky terrain. They were ghosts again, leaving nothing behind but 3 bodies and a legend. During a brief halt on the extraction route, hidden in the shadow of a deep ravine, Thorn caught up to Anya. He looked at her not as a support asset, but as something else entirely. Who the hell are you, Sergeant? He asked, his voice low and stripped of all its earlier arrogance. Anya finished securing her rifle in its case before looking up at him. Physics, Commander, she said, a faint, almost perceptible smile touching her lips. And a lot of practice. That wasn't practice, Thorn insisted. That was something else. Your file is a ghost. It doesn't mention any of this. Anya shouldered her pack and met his gaze directly, her blue eyes holding a universe of secrets. My clearance is above your authorization, sir, she said, her voice polite but absolute. With all due respect. She turned and continued down the path. Thorn watched her go, the name Valkyrie echoing in his mind. It was no longer just a call sign. It was a definition. 3 months later, intelligence reports painted a picture of total collapse. The decapitation strike on the 3 generals had shattered the insurgency's command structure. Deprived of leadership, funding, and strategy, the network had fragmented into small, ineffective factions that were quickly mopped up. The war in that region didn't just turn, it ended. Master Sergeant Anya Petrova's name never appeared in any official report. The after-action summary for the mission stated that the SEAL team observed the targets and withdrew, with no shots fired. Officially, the simultaneous deaths of 3 enemy generals was a mystery, a lucky break, perhaps an internal power struggle. But within the classified archives of SOCOM, the legend of Valkyrie was born. Commander Thorn, promoted and tasked with revamping SEAL sniper training, built a new curriculum around a core principle he called extreme range theory. He taught his students that the limits of their weapons were merely suggestions, and that the true weapon was the calculated certainty in their own minds. He told them the story of a ghost on a ridge in Tzerstan who solved an impossible math problem with 3 bullets. The world remembers the day the war turned, but it doesn't know why. It credits politics, or shifting alliances, or simple luck. But a handful of operators know the truth. They know that on a sun-scorched mountain, A commander had declared a shot impossible. And a woman named Valkyrie had proven that for some, the impossible is just another day at the office. What do you think is the line between confidence and arrogance? Let us know in the comments below, and please be sure to comment with respect. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories.